This is Brian Rogers for BBK Performance to show you how to quickly and easily add even more horsepower, torque, and throttle response to your V8 4th generation F-body using our all-new twin-bore throttle body. BBK offers 8 part numbers to cover all TPI and LT1 powered F-bodies with twin 52mm units for stock or mildly built motors, or our huge twin 58mm units for race or forced induction applications. Begin by checking the voltage on the throttle position sensor. With the key on and engine off, ground the black wire of a digital voltmeter and probe the output wire on the sensor harness. For verification, the voltage on this wire will increase as you open the throttle. Note the voltage that is displayed for future reference. A little trick that we like to use to avoid damaging the wire or harness is to poke a paper clip into the connector instead of stabbing the jacket on the wire itself. Now remove the decorative cover from the throttle linkage. Open the throttle by hand and disconnect the cables. Unplug the inlet air temperature sensor, then loosen the clamps and remove the inlet hose from the throttle body. Unplug the throttle position sensor and disconnect the vacuum lines on the back of the throttle body. Unplug the idle air controller, then remove the 4 bolts that hold the throttle body to the intake manifold. The last step to removal is disconnecting the coolant flow hoses from the throttle body. Here's another little trick we like to use. Put a rag inside the jaws of vice grips, then gently clamp and lock down to close the hoses off before removing. This keeps coolant spillage to a minimum, and the coolant that does spill out will be absorbed by the rags. With the throttle body removed, clean up the gasket surface on the intake manifold. The next step is to unbolt and remove the idle air controller and throttle position sensor from the stock throttle body. Be sure to clean up the gasket surface on the idle air controller before transferring it to the BBK throttle body. And when installing this unit, be sure to use the supplied gasket and hardware. The stock hardware is just a little bit too long and it will not snug down enough to seal the gasket. The throttle position sensor has teeth in its receiver that catch the rectangular end of the throttle shaft. You'll notice that once you engage the teeth onto the shaft, the body of the sensor will need to be rotated just a few degrees counterclockwise to line up with the bolt holes. If you have the teeth engaged properly, you'll feel a slight spring-loaded action when rotating. Leave the bolts just a little bit loose in order to get your throttle position sensor voltage correct after installation. Back at the car, re-establish the coolant and electrical connections at the idle air controller and throttle position sensor. Bolt the BBK throttle body to the intake manifold using the supplied gasket and hardware. Note that the longer mounting bolts are for the bottom of the throttle body. Now reconnect the vacuum lines on the back of the throttle body, and keep in mind that 4th gen cars are old enough now to have dry and rotted rubber parts, so be sure to inspect the vacuum hoses for cracks and replace them if necessary. Now you can connect the cables to the linkage of the BBK throttle body. Use the voltmeter once again to measure the throttle position sensor voltage. To adjust the voltage, simply twist the body of the sensor until the voltage matches the original reading that you noted during the removal process. Once you've achieved the correct voltage, tighten the sensor mounting screws to lock it down. The last steps are to reinstall the decorative cover and the inlet hose. Then reconnect the inlet air temperature sensor and you're done. Let's run this car on the dyno to see what the 58mm BBK throttle body did for this LT1. Wow, how about an additional 15 rear wheel horsepower and 11 foot-pounds of torque with no other modifications, adjustments, or tuning? That is great bang for the buck right there.
For more information on this or any of the hundreds of parts that BBK makes for late model cars and trucks, check out bbkperformance.com. Here on the left, try our multiple search options or watch fun and informative product detail and installation videos. Up here on the top, use the tabs to order or download the latest catalog, find a dealer in your area, or read and download from our instruction sheet library that covers 20+ years of BBK products. Don't forget to check out our homepage and blog to see what's new. Thanks for watching.